What up, bombers? It is Maude Garrett here, coming to you from San Francisco. I'm actually at EA headquarters here in San Fran to play Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, I do want to preface by saying this is not a paid endorsement. I was sent here to EA to play this game for 2 whole days, and to prove that it's not a paid endorsement, 2 days is too long. That's a long time. It's like 18 hours of gameplay. That's a lot. Like, I know a lot about this game now. So now I'm going to tell you the things that I've learned about the game. Within the game, you can basically play as an on-ground trooper, an in-the-air pilot, or what they call heroes. And if you played the first game, you know that the hero are iconic, big Star Wars characters. So you're not like a nameless, faceless person. You are Han Solo, Leia, Chewbacca, etc. So that's kind of like how they've split the way to play the game. They've also got multiplayer, single-player campaign, and offline as well, which is pretty cool. And I'll go through all of those too, and what I liked and what I didn't like. The biggest thing that I've noticed, not only with this game, but kind of Star Wars altogether, is that they're really focusing on the different perspectives of what's going on in the Star Wars universe. So it's not just good and evil. It's not like just following what the rebels did, like what the movies have done, but it's saying, what is it like being put into the Star Wars universe as an Imperial assault trooper, as Darth Maul? So you're kind of understanding both sides, the light and the dark side. Now that I've gotten all that out of the way, let's talk about the ways that you can play Star Wars Battlefront 2. The first one I want to talk about is arcade. So arcade mode is something that you can play offline, so you don't really need any friends at all. You can play against an AI character, or you can play against local co-op, so your mates in the room. I think you can jump online as well. But for this one, it really does act as like your tutorial without getting bogged down by rules. So you're allowed to kind of go into different maps and stages, understand what it's like to play the different characters, whether it's heroes or your soldier-based characters, which are now in 4 different classes, which I think is really worth mentioning. You've got your assault class, heavy, specialist, and officer. So basically it's like your regular soldier. Heavy is like bigger weapons and more of a shield, so they act as a tank. Your specialist is like your sniper, and then your officer is really, really cool. They're able to drop a turret and in a way like use control points within the map too. Each one of these 4 different classes, you're able to unlock so much within. What kind of grenades they have, beef up their turrets, and with all characters, do you want to unlock the star cards, as they're called, to increase health, to get more battle points, which I'll talk more about later too, to be able to unlock the heroes or better characters in the game. Do you want to improve your weaponry? All those sorts of things. So there's a lot to unlock. There's a lot to figure out with the characters. There's a lot of different ways to play this game. For me, out of assault, heavy, specialist, and officer, I actually prefer the heavy. I like being able to have a shield. I like a stronger, more powerful weapon. They've got this like gun turret where you just bullet spray. It's quite beautiful. So I found I would spend a lot more time and attention with that particular character. Arcade though, I would treat it like a tutorial. It can get a bit repetitive, and it's also like an achievement hunt. You kind of want to get through all the stages on rookie, and then it gets a bit harder, and then it gets a bit harder again. My thing is find a person to do it with, play local co-op. It's a lot more fun. But yeah, do that to not be too distracted with an objective, and just to explore the maps and really get an understanding of the different types of heroes, characters, and the subclasses. There are, and I think it's worth mentioning, a lot of similarities and comparisons that I can make with Overwatch. For example, another mode that they have, strike mode, means that you've got an objective and one team is attacking and the other team is defending, or in this case, defending and sabotaging. And because it's 8v8, it has that same kind of feel. And because you have 4 different subclasses, it's obviously not as much as Overwatch, but it's a new adjustment in this game that does make it feel like they're borrowing from that. So this is 8v8, and this is where there are 2 particular, I want to call them vehicles, that is positioned within the map. I played it with Camino, I believe, but definitely Naboo, where you play as battle droids, battle droids and or clone troopers. So one of them will be attacking, one of them will be defending. The mission, if you are attacking or sabotaging, is to go to one of the 2 different stations and plant a bomb. If you're defending, you've got to defuse that bomb. The thing here is that because it's 8v8 and there's 2 different places, it's up to you whether you want to go to A or B, alpha or beta. And you can't really communicate with your teammates. There is an icon saying how many people are at each particular one. That one to me will be difficult because there is no in-game communication. From what I've heard, you can't talk to your teammates, so you just kind of have to read their play and go with it. Expect to die a lot, expect to respawn a lot. Another part of this is that you only have 100 times that your team can die, so whoever hits that, they're the winner or loser. That happens a lot in Galactic Assault actually as well. That probably was the mode that I enjoyed the most. I liked having only 8v8. I thought that was a little bit more intimate, and I got the objectives quite quickly, and I found that I had a really good handle on it. So Strike is the one I suggest the most for multiplayer. But another one is called the Starfighter Assault. Now this one's really cool. 12v12 dog battle in the sky. You've got 3 different types of starcrafts, or airships, spaceships I should say. You've got the fighter, the bomber, or the interceptor. The maps again are maps from the prequels, original, and the new. For me though, I found this to be quite difficult. Just to get my bearings, to figure it all out straight off the bat. I mean, I even played TIE Fighter from the mid-90s when I was a kid, so I get this kind of game. It's just, it can be a lot. It can be a lot. Some people really took it like, duck to water. I needed a few games and a different map. For me, Camino I found was easier to navigate through. And I prefer not the quick zippy ships, but ones that are a little bit slower but have heavier artillery. It doesn't matter what kind of gamer you are, there is something that will fit for you better. And then of course you just upgrade that one and then kick ass. That's my advice for it. You do have to be aware though in Starfighter Assault that there's a lot more chance you're going to kill yourself than get killed or kill another person. There is a lot of obstacles in the way. One of the maps has a bunch of asteroids. Never tell me the odds of surviving that one, even though it's 3,720 to 1, but it depends which asteroid field because this is a different map. Yeah, so if you are a frenetic player, chances are you're going to explode either on a Star Destroyer or on an asteroid. But practice makes perfect with that one. What was really cool for me, my favourite part, was that you can unlock the Slave one and you drop a seismic charge and it makes that noise. It goes deathly quiet and then vroom. That was beautiful. That was my pro. The con, I'm not very good at it. I didn't find myself wanting to go back and play it even more. They're all playing it now. That's why I'm doing this video. The big bad boy we've got here is the Galactic Assault. So this is your 20v20, 40 people in the one map. They recreate moments in the Galactic Assault that makes it feel like the movie. So you're in Naboo and it's your clone troopers versus your battle droids. It's on Kashyyyk, where, oh my gosh, the same thing, those bloody battle droids. We played a lot with the battle droids. Personally not a fan. And you can't really see a difference in the 4 different classes that you play. They look the same, whereas if you play in the clone troopers, they have different armor on and they're quite distinguishable. Again, each team has different objectives, whether it's to take down something or to defend something. It can be a little bit messy. It's like, do you want to take out the enemy or do you want to follow the objective? Again, you get different battle points depending on what you do. You get them for kills, but you get them for completing the mission. So what's really interesting is at the end of the game, when you get your scores, you could have 11 kills but 7,000 battle points, and someone else could have 25 kills but only 6,000 or 5,000 battle points. And the battle points weigh up more than your actual kill count. So how you're playing this game is really important. Another note for the Galactic Assault though is that you can play as your heroes, you can play as the soldier, but you can also jump into transport, whether it's a land speeder or an AT-AT. AT-ST. I didn't get to go into an AT-AT. Or a turret like on Hoth, or you can jump in a ship and hit the air. So there's like 3 ways to do it, which is what they did in the first game as well. Soldier, hero, or transport sky. And then you got Blast. Blast is 10v10, so it's kind of like the in-between of the Strike and the Galactic Assault. A quicker game. What's been really cool for this and for me is that I am playing with 40 other games journalists. So they're really good gamers. And, not so humble brag, never came last, never came first, never came last. Always sat around the middle. So personally for me, Strike was the most exciting to play, and then probably Blast, moving into Galactic Assault, and then Arcade. My least favourite was the Starfighter Assault, which could very easily be your favourite. It's just not mine. I'm not so great at it. So the last of the multiplayer options that you can go through is Heroes versus Villains. So this is 4v4, and it's heroes only, and it's light side versus dark side. So in one match you can have Vader and Kylo Ren and the Emperor and why can't I think of one? Boba Fett versus Rey, Luke, Han and Leia. So that's a lot of fun. Because you are all souped up and powered up and you are heroes, you have a lot more health, so there's a lot more at stake when you are playing it. And a lot of epic lightsaber battles, which is really cool. The problem is I feel personally that the Jedi or Force users are a lot stronger, so that when you go into those matches, they get snapped up first. And if you are not one of those, chances are for the rest of the game you won't be a Jedi or a Sith. So that's a little bit difficult. My favourite out of all of them was actually Darth Maul. He was a lot of fun to play with his double lightsaber. But Luke's also really good because he's got a strong force push, and so if they're next to a ledge, he's like Lucio. It's like, see you later, bye. Anyway, let me tell you about the pros and cons of the game that I first discovered when playing Arcade, and that is the graphics are amazing, the sound effects are amazing, they're legitimate. So if you're a Star Wars fan, it looks like Star Wars, it sounds like Star Wars. I'm pretty sure we already knew from the first game the sound effects and the soundtrack are all from like John Williams, it's the Lucas Sound Studio, it's all from archived material from the movie, so it is 100% legit and it sounds great. But I'm noticing that with the inclusion of the current trilogy, they're using the voice actors, they're keeping that authenticity completely on point, which really does enhance the gameplay. The maps are quite big, there's a lot to explore, and the attention to detail is incredible, but that comes at a cost, which brings me to my cons. The load times are very, very long, and you have to prepare for this. It's a lot longer than any game I'm used to. Not only with multiplayer, you have to find up to 20v20 maps and make sure that there's enough people to play it, but to just load into the map itself is a very, very long process. So my recommendation, have your phone on standby, or maybe have a bunch of chores that you need to do, knowing that you could get a lot done in between each game. So within the game, and this goes for all the different modes, the way that you play the game, you unlock battle points. So the kills that you get, how you play the game, whether you're going through with the objection or the objective, you're able to unlock battle points, and you use those battle points to then play as a better hero or character, which has more health, different abilities. So it's really cool. If you're on Kashyyyk, you can play as Chewbacca. Beautiful for me. So I've probably done a real rubbish job talking about the star cards that you can unlock for each character. The higher you level up that character, the more star cards you can have for each individual one. The more unlocking with loot crates provide the star cards, but you can unlock the loot crates with credits, and then you also earn crafting parts, and the more crafting parts you have, the more star cards you can unlock. And then you can unlock everything from within those 4 different classes, the heroes individually, armoured vehicles and the airships. So there's a lot to unlock, there's a lot to progress, there's a lot of ways to play this game. I've done a shit job of explaining it, but I'm a pretty big fan. So this is my stance on the microtransactions. I think you have to go into this game knowing that they exist, and whether it's going to affect you and get you really angry to the point that you don't want to play it, or accepting it and moving on from it. You do earn enough credits to unlock enough loot crates, and you also get a loot crate every single day that you log on. So there are ample opportunities to gain the crates. The fact that you can buy them, and there are things in the crates that do actually bump up and beef up your characters, that's where it gets a bit tricky. It's not entirely fair, knowing that you can pay to play and slay. But you know what I mean? Like, if you have the money, you can enhance your characters at an exponential rate. I don't recommend it. I don't think it's necessary. People could do it, but, you know, at the end of the day, do you want to spend your money or not? I want to ask you a few questions. Would you play as the light side or the dark side? I want to conduct this poll on my Twitter as well to get a really good idea of your interest. Like, I remember I always used to advocate the light side. I always thought that if I was a Jedi, I'd follow the path of good. or the light side, I should say, because there is no good and evil. But more and more I've been like, I don't know, man. Give me like a double saber, train me under Dooku. I could cause some shit and I'd be okay with it. So as gamers, do you play with a lot of people or do you prefer to have a single player campaign? And when you're looking at Star Wars Battlefront 2, is the appeal more the multiplayer or the single player campaign? And are you like me? Do you like local co-op, or do you think and agree with the way that gaming's moved away from it in the last little bit of time? Or is this something that really is a perk for you? Would you want to play with friends? So that's all I have to talk about. I'm going to get back into playing the game. I would love to hear from you. Would you play as light side or dark side? Do you like local co-op, or is that not something that you're about? And would you rather play the single player campaign or multiplayer, or both? Let me know. Thanks guys for listening to me crap on about Star Wars. Again, you've been great. Bye bummers.